And we are back, YouTube. For anyone who's returning, thank you, and for everyone who's new, welcome. I'm Mitch, and this is Retro Rummage. I'm going to game my channels buying games, DVDs, Blu-rays, any electronics I get my hands on at car boot sales, Facebook Marketplace or charity shops for a cheap price. So I'm getting traded into CX at a high price so I can build my own gaming collection. So yeah, back with something a little bit more different today. I was tagged by my friend Scott at Marathon Gaming in a video response, and I have seen a few of these floating about already. I think it was Retro, it may have been Retro Ed who started it. I'll put a link to his channel below, and basically it's just 10 video games that I would never sell. Now for me, I mean, in all honesty, I'd like to think that I would never sell any of my games, but you know, I think the point of this, exercise is that, if someone's got a gun to your head and saying, you've got to sell all your games but 10, which ones wouldn't you get rid of? Now, unfortunately for me, I don't have, although I do have nostalgia for my games, because I, started recollecting as an adult, I don't have nostalgia or more of a sentimental value to my games. Like, there are games that I know that people have where they've had them since release, since they was a kid, and they would never sell them because of that. So unfortunately I don't have anything like that. There are some rare and expensive games in here, but more of it is to do with, in my opinion, games where maybe they're a little bit more harder to find in good condition, or obviously games that I enjoy and stuff like that. So maybe a little bit more different from some of the other types of 10 games that I wouldn't sell to others if you have seen them already. But I'll go over my 10 games and as to why I wouldn't sell them. Hopefully you enjoy the video. Obviously let me know in the comments if this is something you enjoy, and I may do more videos like this of me going over games that I like and stuff like that. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll flip the cameras and we'll go over the games. So yeah, like I was saying, we'll go over my 10 games and why I wouldn't sell them. There will be some order to it, but not any particular order. I think I'll actually start with what is the most expensive game in my collection, and that, I believe this is the most expensive. Yeah, I believe it is the most expensive game. Michigan Report from Hell. I got this maybe a couple of months ago now. I think CEX is still selling this for I think maybe £550, something like that. Obviously I paid a little bit less than that when I bought. I think it was maybe about 500, 510, something like that, paid with vouchers. But yeah, my reasonings behind not wanting to sell this is, obviously, one, it's a rare and expensive game, but two, you don't seem, out of the three big ones, obviously apart from Gun Club on the PlayStation 2, you don't tend to see this one come into stock as much. And that's obviously, well, I mean, Rule of Rose, there's loads of them in stock now. It's not necessarily a rare game anymore. And Kuon, if I'm pronouncing that right, Kwon, you do tend to see a lot of those in stock, and the price has actually dropped considerably on that, from, I think it was at $6.95 at one point, and it's dropped down to maybe $5.90 at the moment. But yeah, this is a really cool and interesting game, and it's in such brilliant condition. It's one of the, I mean, I know they now specify with or without manual, but for a game of this value to come in such brilliant condition, yeah, I don't think that I would ever sell this game. And it is cool to play. It's, if you haven't seen it already, it's like you are the cameraman of a news agency, and the town is being overrun by demons and stuff like that. So yeah, in terms of rare and expensive, some of the more rare and expensive games don't tend to be as good, but for me this is quite an enjoyable game. So yeah, starting off the list with my most expensive game, but they're not all like that, I promise you. Second game, which is not as expensive, is Resident Evil 2. Now, when I was thinking about making this list, there are games obviously that I absolutely love, like Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil, so obviously some of the Silent Hills as well, and you know, these games are not hard to get. They're quite, well, apart from the Silent Hill, they're quite reasonably priced. And this is being one of them. But the reason for me not wanting to ever sell that is because this is the first game that I bought when I started video game collecting again, should we say. There is another game in this list that is kind of the reason that I, you know, got into video game collecting, but this is the first one that I bought when I started again. Was that a little bit of... Oh, no, it's meant to be on there. And that, yeah, this is an all-time classic. I've got lots of nostalgia for Resident Evil 2. I remember me and my brother, when we first got our PlayStation for Christmas, it come with this and Tekken 2. And yeah, we played it to death and I absolutely loved it. And yeah, like I was saying, I think I got this nearly 10 years ago now, because I had a load of games that I bought originally for quite a reasonable price. I think I maybe paid like 12 or 15 pounds for this, something like that. Not a lot at all. But yeah, I thought I'd include it just because it was the first game that I bought once I started retro video game collecting again. Brilliant game. I always play as Claire. I've never completed it as Leon, so I think I need to do that just to tick it off the bucket list. But yeah, a great game. Now, keeping in the theme with horrors and stuff like that, there's quite a few horrors in this in this collection, should we say, of games. But this one is Clock Tower 3, which again is in very good condition, and it did come with a, what do you want to call it, help sheet. Not too sure what that's for, but I thought I'd keep it in there as I do like these little bits of history. But my reason for choosing this is because this is the most expensive game in my collection that I personally found in the wild. I got this at Skylark car boot sale, where up in, I think it's either Cambridge or Norfolk, where the mother-in-law lives, and I paid £2 for it. Now, at the time when I bought this, which was about a year or so ago, it was only £40, I believe, but the price has increased quite considerably now. I think with manual, I think it's maybe up to £60 or £70. So yeah, a good return on the £2 that I initially spent. Again, the backlog is real, and I haven't managed to play through this one, but it does look very, very good, and I will get through it at some point. And then yeah, keeping on the same track as finding stuff in the wild, this is God of War 2 Special Edition. It's in pretty good condition considering that it is, you know, cardboard from however many years ago now. Although unfortunately I didn't find this car boot for a cheap price. I got this at my local CEX, but it was just sat there on the shelf. I think at the time I maybe paid £28 or £30 for it. But for the condition that it's in and the fact that I absolutely love God of War, I mean, I'm going to say it, I prefer these God of War games, God of War 1 and 2 on the PlayStation 2 to God of War Ragnarok, which I have completed recently on the PlayStation 5. But for me, this was just, these games are brilliant. You know, I think they pushed what the PlayStation could, they pushed what the PlayStation 2 could do to the absolute limit, and the games hold up brilliant to this day, in my opinion. Let me know in the comments if you disagree. But yeah, it's not a very expensive game, but it's purely for the fact that the condition of the box is brilliant, and it's a game that I love. And then yes, more PlayStation 2 cardboard, and again the main reason for me wanting to keep this is because of condition, and that is Silent Hill 2, the original 2-disc edition. Now I'm not just saying it, I don't want to brag, but in my opinion this is the best condition Silent Hill 2 I've ever seen in person. If you've got a better one, let me know in the comments or hit me up on Instagram. I'd love to know if people have got a sealed copy of this, just to see what it looked like brand new and sealed. But honestly, I cannot fault. I mean, all right, there's obviously some, you know, you've got a little bit of a scuff at the bottom there and on the corners, but some of the condition of these ones that I've seen have been absolutely terrible. So, the front cover on this is immaculate. And then, yeah, obviously inside, it's got all of the bits. The manual's not got a crease in it. And then it's also got the postcard. And I believe someone told me that is a sticker. There are some different variants of it, but yeah, they're all in there as well. And again, I found this in the wild in King's Lynn, in a retro video shop called, what was it called? I can't remember, but I'll put it on the screen now if I can find what it was. But yeah, I paid £60 for this, which is an absolute steal, considering I sold the version that I had, which was obviously in worse condition than this, for £65. So I was £5 up profit, and I priced that low just for a quick sale. But these are regularly, in worse condition than this, going on eBay for 60, 70, 80, sometimes even more. I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if this copy alone wouldn't be pushing £100. But yeah, I just wouldn't get rid of it purely because I know that if I ever wanted to rebuy this, I would never get a condition for that good. Sorry, I would never get it in that good of condition for that price. So yeah, that's another, PlayStation 2 cardboard game that I wouldn't get rid of. Now this game is actually on the newer consoles, on the current gen, whatever you want to call it, and that is Ghost of Tsushima, the director's cut on PlayStation 5. Again, this is a game that I found in the wild. I think I only paid a tenner for it, which at the time was a steal, and it still is a very good price. I think CEX is still selling this for maybe £40 or £45. I think you can still trade it in for like £30, something like that, voucher. But yeah, in my opinion, this is a perfect game. You cannot fault it in any sense of the manner. The visuals are brilliant, the gameplay is amazing, the mechanics are not too difficult but not too easy. Obviously you can set the set the difficulty level, but the storyline is amazing, and there's also like end of game playability. If you've completed the main storyline, there's still loads that you can do. Open world, on a horse you can ride around to each of the towns, killing bosses, stuff like that. There's so much to do. I think the main storylines maybe took me like 22 to 24 hours gameplay. I think I'm about like 30 hours into it, and I just really enjoy it. I'm looking forward to the second one coming out. I think that's next year now, on the PlayStation 5. But it's just a brilliant game. I can't recommend it enough. If you haven't played it and you're into these types of games, definitely give it a go. And like I said, I think this will be a game in the future where people look back and say, that was a brilliant game for its time. And the fact that I found this in the wild, and I'm hoping to build my own sentimental value to these games. And in 20 years' time, I'll be like, oh yeah, I've had that since it was released, basically, and I found it at a car boot for a cheap price. So yeah, that's the only PlayStation 5 game on there, but an absolutely fantastic game and really enjoyable. The next game is another Silent Hill game, and I believe the most expensive one, and that is Silent Hill Shattered Memories. Now, the reason for me not wanting to sell this, apart from the fact that it's rare and expensive, is because it is, and I always get the pronunciation of this wrong, I believe it's the it says it on there, the BBFC classification. Now, there was a crossover period with PlayStation 2 where it went from, I believe, BBFC on adult rated games to PEGI. So now all of the games like Ghost of Tsushima are rated PEGI like that. But previously, if a game had adult themes, violence, sex, swear words and stuff like that, it would be either rated by PEGI if it was like child friendly, but then if it had those adult themes, it would go to the BBFC to be classified. So that's why you see on a lot of the older adult themed games 15, 18 and stuff like that. But now, I think it's since around 2012, I believe. That was when I think like the final, say of right, from now on all games have got to be classified PEGI moving forward. But I think from 2007-8 to 2012 there was like a crossover period of some games being classified with BBFC, some being rated PEGI, and yeah, this one being the BBFC, it's more desirable, more expensive, and it is a hard game to come by. So yeah, and obviously Silent Hill is a franchise that I absolutely love. I've got most of the games from PlayStation 1, 2 and 3 now, I believe, and also PlayStation 5 because I do have Silent Hill 2, the remake, which I haven't had a time to play through just yet. But yeah, for me this is probably, you know, one of two expensive games that I wouldn't get rid of just because of their desirability and the fact that they are a little bit harder to find. And then yes, the one and only Nintendo cardboard that made it into this list, and I'll be truthful with you, I would sell the box to this, but I wouldn't sell the cart. And that's because I've got lots of nostalgia for Pokemon Red, but in my opinion, Pokemon Fire Red is obviously a better game, a better version. They've ironed out some of the creases. Obviously you've got colour and stuff like that in the screen. It's just a more enjoyable game to play. So I played through Leaf Green on one of my holidays and Fire Red on another one of my holidays. Absolutely love them. I'm almost at the stage of thinking I'm going to buy a Switch just to buy Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu or Eevee, whichever one it is that's the remakes of these but on the Switch, just because I enjoy that period of Pokemon so much. But yes, it's, you know, I haven't got to say too much about Pokemon. It's a brilliant game, and yeah, I love playing them on my Game Boy, and that's why I would keep this one if I had to keep any of them. That being said, it would just be the cart rather than the box, because it's crazy as well. I mean, the box is probably worth more than the cart. I'm sure the box on itself goes for like 80 quid. I don't know how much the cart is for what's the word, Pokemon Fire Red at the moment. I know they've been creeping up as well. This is the version with the wireless adapter. I'm not going to open it, but you'll have to take my word that it's got all of the manual. I think it's also got the Nintendo VIP Club leaflet in there as well, and a few other bits. But very, very nice condition and a very, very good game. And then my one and only PlayStation 3 game that would make the list, and again this is because it's such a great game, and that is The Last of Us on the PlayStation 3. In my opinion, so far from the game, well, my limited experience of the PlayStation 3, this is the best game that was released on it. Again, there you can see the PEGI 18 rating. It's in very good condition, this. I believe I found this on a game hunt out in one of my local CEXs. Been thinking about getting the limited edition ones, but yeah, I don't know if I want to go down that rabbit hole of getting both copies of the special edition, or you know, just one of them. I don't know, so I haven't decided yet. But absolutely brilliant game. Enjoyed every single minute of playing this. Again, I think I actually watched the TV series first, and I thought, right, I'm gonna give the game. And I'll say, my friend Ben, back in the day, I slandered him because when I was younger, I think when this was released, I can't remember, maybe 2000 and, what was it? Yeah, maybe 2010, 2011, 2013, I can't remember. I know it was about 10 or so years ago, maybe even more than that. And at that time, I was heavily into PC gaming, online, open world, PvPing and stuff like that. And I always used to say to him, why are you playing storyline games for? They're boring. Get online and, you know, fight with people, or, you know, play online and, you know, Call of Duty and stuff like that. I was all about that at that point in time. But now I've got a little bit older and matured. I've come back to the storyline games. I'm not interested in playing online. I just want heavily storyline based games. And yeah, I had to say to him, listen, I'm sorry, because I used to mug him off and he was telling me all the time, you know, you've got to play Last of Us, it's a brilliant game. So I was 10 years late to the party with this one. But yeah, I can't praise this game enough. Really, really enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed Last of Us 2 as well. I know a lot of people weren't happy with the storyline and stuff like that, but for me, this was a little bit better than that. but that still being a very, very good game. So yeah, the only PlayStation 3 game to make the list. And then I believe this is the last one of the list. And like I was saying earlier, when I was showing you Resident Evil 2, that was the first game that I bought because of, also that was the first game I bought when I started retro video game collecting. This game is the reason that I collect video games, and that is Cooler World on the PlayStation 1. I've said in many a video before, if you've watched my channel, when I've done my game room tours and stuff like that, that me and my older brother, we used to have this on demo. I can't remember if it was a demo that came with it when we bought it, but we love playing it. I don't know why, it's kind of got like a hypnotic atmosphere to it. You know, once you're playing it, it's quite soothing but addictive at the same time. I mean, at the time we was never able to get an original copy of it, and I remember looking, you know, a few years after we got rid of our PlayStation 1, and even then I believe it was, you know, quite expensive for a PlayStation 1 game, like 30, 40 pounds, something like that. Bear in mind people were just getting rid of them. And I always used to think, oh, that's mad that it's that expensive, it must be quite rare. And every couple of years I'd always, for some reason, I'd always go back and check how much this game costs, just, you know, out of pure interest, and it was always relatively expensive. I mean, it's doubled in price since I bought it, which was 2 years ago, and this was the first expensive game that I bought when I started my channel. I think I bought this game a week before I started my channel, and I paid either 60 or 70 pound for it, I can't remember, but yeah, it shot up to 140 pounds now. But yes, this is the reason that I, you know, started doing what I'm doing, going to car boots, because I know that I was never going to spend £70 on a PlayStation 1 game or however much money, and what I'm doing now is the reason that I'm able to buy these games for cheaper than what their face value is worth. So, you know, without this game, I wouldn't have this YouTube channel, I wouldn't have all of these games behind me, this room, I wouldn't have any of it. So yeah, it does have you know, a special place in my heart, this game. This would be, you know, if I couldn't sell one game, this would be that game. And yeah, I actually haven't completed it, which is I'm ashamed to say, considering how much sentimental and nostalgic value it's got to me. But I will complete it one day. As always, the backlog is real. But yeah, absolutely love having this game in my collection, and it will be the last game in my collection. Who knows, maybe I'll even get buried with it, but yeah. So that's it. I believe that's my 10 games. Let me just double check. Yeah, let me know what you think of my list. Please, I won't tag anyone in this video, but if you do you know, 10 video games that you would never sell, please let me know, as I'll watch yours, as I'm interested to see what your games would be. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if you did or if you didn't. If you'd like to see more videos like this, maybe I'll do some others in the future. But take care everyone, and I'll see you all in the next one.